On tonight's edition of Newswatch, we'll have insight on tonight's vice presidential debate.
And also, find out why clowns are scaring kids and parents across the nation.
Later on the Newswatch Sports Report, find out how close Iowa State was to upsetting Baylor this past Saturday.
And I'll have a forecast that feels more like fall coming up. All that and more, you're watching Newswatch at 8.
This is Newswatch 18. Newswatch 18 starts now.
Welcome to ISUTV's Newswatch and Happy News Engagement Day. I'm Taylor Mankle.
And I'm Lisa Greenwood. Thanks for stopping by.
Presidential running partners Tim Kaine and Mike Pence will take the big stage tonight, both with different missions. Kaine, Hillary Clinton's vice president nominee, needs to solidify all the gains Clinton has received since the first presidential debate. Pence, Donald Trump's running mate, on the other hand, has the mission to recover from Trump's performance on the debate, where he had seen drops in almost all polls. Even after the first debate, many voters have yet to decide between the candidates. Tonight will be another time for many to weigh their options.
In 2014, Flint, Michigan tried saving money for their city by taking water from a local river, which they later found is contaminated with high lead concentrations, meaning the water is not safe to drink unless filtered. Now the city is coming back into the spotlight, and not with good news. An outbreak of an infectious disease spreading through the city is called cyclosis, which causes fever and stomach pains. Flint is still waiting for funding from Congress to help fix the issue.
Hurricane Matthew slammed the western coast of Haiti earlier today, picking up with some powerful winds and heavy rains. Rivers have flooded across the country, and the winds continue to cause damage to the poverty-stricken infrastructure. The storm has taken at least 7 lives and caused officials to declare states of emergency. The Category 4 hurricane is currently growing and moving towards Cuba.
A Reuters report came out this morning claiming that the search engine Yahoo secretly agreed to search all its users' incoming emails on behalf of either the National Security Agency or the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Yahoo did not confirm or deny the report, but also said it didn't break any law. The search through Yahoo's emails were looking for specific but unknown words and phrases that agencies were flagging as at risk. If the charges are true, it would be the first case of a U.S.-based internet company searching all the incoming messages rather than scanning for stored messages or focusing on a smaller number of accounts.
The Dakota Access Pipeline protests continue across 4 states, including Iowa, the main camp being in Standing Rock, South Dakota, where 200-plus Native American tribes continue to camp peacefully on sites where the Army Corps of Engineers were building. The protests have successfully halted construction, and the people remain on site in fears if they stop, the construction will resume. Protesters are worried that the pipeline might break and ruin major water sources for millions, with the protests going on across 4 different states, even in Iowa.
Recently, there have been reports of creepy clowns scaring people across America. These clowns have reportedly tried to harm people, lure them into the woods, and hang around desolate areas at night. There have been sightings of clowns in 10 states across the nation. 12 people have been arrested in the past 2 weeks for making threats on social media or chasing people while in clown costumes. Here at Iowa State, the police said that they did receive a report of persons dressed as clowns in the woods, but could not verify the report. Chief Aaron Dishlemut said he believes there is a reaction to the clown trend across the country, but until there is a true threat, he does not believe them to be dangerous. Remember, if you see anything suspicious, contact the police.
A parade float depicting Hillary Clinton in an electric chair with Donald Trump throwing the switch has sparked a controversy in eastern Indiana. The float, which also featured a depiction of President Obama as an Easter Island head painted black, was part of a parade Sunday for the Aurora Farmers Fair. Frank Linkmeyer, the maker of the float, said he simply wanted to make people laugh and didn't think the float would cause backlash. The float was initially seen by a small amount of citizens who attended the Farmers Fair, but was quickly spread throughout social media. The town of Aurora has since released a statement saying, "We are disappointed that the actions of a few have taken the focus away from what otherwise was a very successful 108th Aurora Farmers Fair."
Stay tuned because after the break, we'll bring you news on the recent stabbing at Iowa State.
Welcome back to Newswatch. 2 people were stabbed in Campustown early Saturday morning. When police arrived at the 200 block of Stanton a little after 1 a.m., they found 2 male victims with stab wounds in their chest. According to the victims, the wounds resulted in an altercation between 2 groups of people. The suspects had originally fled the scene but were later found. Police are currently not releasing the names of the victim. The investigation for the stabbings is ongoing and no charges have been filed at this time.
Congratulations to our Iowa State College of Design programs of Architecture and Landscape Architecture for being ranked top 20 in the country, according to Design Intelligence's most recent survey of practitioners. The undergraduate architecture program ranked 18th in the U.S., and the undergraduate landscape architecture program ranked 10th for 2016-2017. Additionally, for the first time, the graduate landscape architecture program ranked 17th in the nation. The Dean of the College of Design, Luis Rico Guiertas, was also named one of the 25 most admired educators of 2016-2017 in the United States.
President Stephen Leith launched the Forever True for Iowa State campaign on Friday, an initiative to raise $1.1 billion for the university by June 30th, 2020. This is the largest campaign Iowa State has ever held, with the continued goal to help lead the world in advancing the land-grant ideals of putting science, technology, and human creativity to work. Leith and staff are inviting anyone who has ever been touched by the university to contribute to the betterment of its future. For more information about the initiative, visit forevertrueisu.com.
Changes to the Cyride routes will be coming soon. Routes for the bus system have not been seriously discussed since 2006, and many feel that they could use a revamp. Due to the increase in Ames population and Iowa State enrollment, many people have voiced that the bus system needs to either add or improve their routes. The biggest concern is making Cyride as efficient and accessible to students and members of the community as possible. People also have concerns for the safety of pedestrians in the presence of Cyride's buses. Forums, student surveys, and public meetings are currently being planned to discuss potential changes. To give your input, you can visit the Cyride website.
Today is News Engagement Day. The Greenleaf School of Journalism hosted an event today to encourage students to be conscious of what's happening in the world. Students answered 5 news questions and were entered to win gift cards and other prizes. Winners were announced each hour from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. this afternoon. If you would like more information on News Engagement Day, you can visit newsengagement.org.
Some Subway chains in central Iowa are changing how you can order your sandwich. The Subway in Boone now has a touchscreen drive-thru. Customers can create their sandwich without having to talk to an employee, but they also have the option to order vocally. Customers also have the option to link their cell phone number to the order. Doing so will give customers the option to enter their phone number the next time they visit and automatically order the same thing they ordered the last time.
Man, that's crazy stuff about Subway. Just everything just continues to get more technological. It's as if robots will someday make our sandwiches.
I mean, maybe they will.
Maybe they will.
They'll be the next sandwich artist.
The next sandwich artist. But something that is also continually on the move is the weather. We take it to Zane now for our weather report.
You know, there's nothing like comparing sandwiches and weather all the time, but the thing that we are going to be talking about with weather is a lot more fall-like temperatures coming up. You can see right now it's being warm for early October out there, but coming up after the break, we're going to talk about much more fall-like weather in your forecast. Stay with us. Welcome back to Newswatch. Right now here in Ames, we're sitting at a comfortable 71 degrees outside, and the wind's just light out of the southeast at 8 miles an hour. Like to talk about before the break, our temperatures right now are very warm out there. 74 still down in Des Moines, 70 degrees off to the eastern part of the state, and then off to the west, we are starting to sink down into the 60s, but that's due to this rainfall that's sweeping off to the east across the state of Iowa right now. This is all due to a cold front, which is just kind of meandering across the upper Midwest at this moment. You can see Futurecast is paying that in right now. As we move through tonight into tomorrow, that's going to continue to work its way to the east across the state and then move on out. And then by the time we get into your Wednesday tomorrow, it's going to be much clearer, clear skies behind the front, and just a little bit cooler perhaps as we get through tomorrow, and then more chances of rain are going to come up as we get into your Thursday. Now with that cold front moving through, we do have a risk of severe weather across areas of the upper Midwest, only a slight chance in the southwestern part of the state of Iowa, a better chance off to our southwest in Kansas. That's where they've had a severe thunderstorm watch, several severe thunderstorm warnings, and even a few tornado-warned storms this afternoon and ongoing at this hour. That's not going to be too much of an issue for us here in Iowa. Our main focus is going to be on this substantial amount of rainfall that's going to move on through. Areas of northwestern Iowa could see as much as 2 inches, and then areas in the central part of the state will see a quarter of an inch or less as we move on through tonight into tomorrow. So our rain is nothing compared to what's going on down in the Caribbean. You can see this is Hurricane Matthew that we've been looking at for several days now. It's a Category 4 storm sitting right between Cuba and Haiti at this hour. It crossed over part of Haiti earlier today and just caused massive destruction down there. Still at 140 mile an hour sustained winds around the eye of this thing. And as we move through tomorrow, this hurricane is going to progress its way across the Bahamas and move along the east coast of the United States, maintaining hurricane status the entire way. So we're going to be talking about this thing all the way through this week into the early part of next week. So it's going to be a big story across much of the eastern seaboard. Back here in the Midwest, though, it's going to be pretty quiet out there. Lows tonight are going to sink down into the low 60s to the mid 50s. You can see off to the west that cold blue color is just starting to sneak into the map. So it's hard to remember sometimes when it's this warm that it is October. So those cooler temperatures are coming sooner or later. Tonight here in Ames, we're going to get down to 57. Those thunder showers will move their way through and then taper off by the time we get into the early morning. Highs tomorrow will work their way up into the mid-70s. Across the state, Des Moines and areas to the south could reach into the 80-degree range. So it's going to be a beautiful day for early October out there. Here in Ames, 76 again, mostly sunny. Like I said, a great fall day for the beginning of the month out there. As we work our way into the extended forecast, there's that beautiful day on Wednesday. Thursday, another chance of rain comes through, and then we clear out on Friday and Saturday. But if you look at that, the weekend's going to be pretty cool compared to what we've been at. Lows will work their way down into the
Hello and welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Zach Williamson here with your sports report. College football did not disappoint this weekend, and the 11th ranked Tennessee Volunteers were a big reason for it. They took on the 25th ranked Georgia Bulldogs in Athens, who looked to possibly run away with it after taking an early 17-0 lead. However, the Vols kept it within range all game and struck in the fourth quarter, taking a 28-24 lead with under 3 minutes to play. But the Bulldogs answered when Ryan Ridley caught a pass and ran it for 47 yards to give Georgia a 31-28 lead with only 10 ticks left on the clock. When it seemed like it was all over, Joshua Dobbs threw a 43-yard Hail Mary into the end zone while time expired. Wide receiver Jawan Jennings leaped up to make an incredible play to complete the comeback and beat the Georgia Bulldogs 34-31 in shocking fashion. The win moves Tennessee to 5-0 as they stand in sole possession of first place in the SEC East. The great games didn't end quite there. There was a top 5 showdown between the Clemson Tigers and the Louisville Cardinals. Louisville came in with a lot of hype after an unreal start to their season, and Clemson came in undefeated as well, coming off a visit to the national championship just a year ago. It was all Clemson in the first half as they jumped out to a 28-10 lead before the break. Louisville turned it up in the second half thanks to the help from Heisman hopeful Lamar Jackson. Jackson threw for 295 yards and ran for another 162 yards, combining for 3 total touchdowns in the game. Down 36-42, Louisville was driving down the field when they were stopped 1 yard short on a 4th down conversion at the Clemson 10-yard line, ultimately running out the clock. The Tigers' offense was boosted by another Heisman hopeful and quarterback Deshaun Watson. Watson was as strong as his counterpart, totaling up 397 yards and 5 touchdowns. Louisville looked very good Saturday and lost to an extremely talented Clemson roster. It'll be interesting to see what happens to both of these teams the rest of the season. The Cyclones took on the 13th-ranked Baylor Bears at Jack Trice Stadium Saturday in an absolute shootout. Coming off a big win from a week ago, Iowa State's offense was striking on all cylinders. The Cyclones scored on every possession they had until they reached the fourth quarter, where they led 42-28. However, the defense wasn't as strong as the offense for the Cyclones, and they gave up 17 straight points to fall to the Bears in heartbreak fashion. Iowa State never trailed until Baylor kicked the game-winning field goal as time expired. Quarterback Joel Lanning turned in a great game, throwing 17 for 23 with 261 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as scampering in for a rushing touchdown. Running back Mike Warren played well for a second week in a row, picking up 130 yards on the ground to go along with 2 touchdowns. The defense continues to look like the weakness of this team as they gave up a total of 647 yards, 469 of them on the ground. The Cyclones look to bounce back next week at Big 12 Conference foe Oklahoma State. With a closer look at how Iowa State almost came away with the win, Emerson Sears and Amani Armstead were there with the coverage.
On October 1st, Iowa State showed up ready to play a tough game against Baylor. Coming into this game, Baylor's record was 4-0, while Iowa State's record was 1-3. In the early stages of the game, Iowa State took the lead, which gave them confidence in their ability to win the game. In the early stages of the second quarter, Iowa State was in the lead 21-7. By halftime, the score was 28-21 Iowa State. Iowa State's defensive line was thrown around by Baylor in the second half. Midway through the fourth quarter, Baylor tied the game up at 42-42. At this point, Baylor seemed firmly in control. Baylor's kicker kicked a 19-yard field goal to win the game. Final score, 45-42 Baylor. Up next, Iowa State will travel to Oklahoma State on Saturday.
October is here, and so is playoff baseball. The first game started tonight with the Baltimore Orioles traveling to Toronto for the American League wildcard game. Tonight, the American League East rivals squared off for the 20th time this season, and the winner will travel to Arlington to play the Rangers in the American League Division Series. The current score is the Orioles are up 2-1 on the Blue Jays in the 4th inning. The other matchup taking place in the American League is the series between the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox. The National League wildcard game will take place tomorrow with the San Francisco Giants heading to the Big Apple to take on the defending NL champions, the New York Mets. Both teams have reached the World Series within the last 2 years, proving they can be dangerous teams in the postseason. The winner will move on to play the MLB best Chicago Cubs, while the other matchup in the National League will be between the Washington Nationals and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Coming up, learn more about the only student-run rodeo in the nation. You're watching Newswatch on ISUtv.
Taylor Swift may not be performing at the halftime show, but she will be making a Super Bowl appearance. Swift recently cut a deal with AT&T to perform at their exclusive party the night before the big game. She'll be performing a set and providing other content. Her appearance at AT&T DirecTV Super Saturday Night in Houston on February 4th will be her first for the event. Further details for the performance have not been announced, and it is much unclear how much Swift will earn for the exclusive deal.
Iowa State held its annual Cyclone Stampede over the weekend, showcasing rodeo, roping skills, and more. Michael Foltz has the story.
Here we go. Come on, Tanner. Oh.
The 54th annual Cyclone Stampede was this weekend at the Hanson Student Learning Center. The Cyclone Stampede is the only student-run college rodeo in the country. Teams from the Great Plains region of the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association traveled to Ames to compete. The Cyclone Stampede Committee, with President Whitney Pittman and Vice President Steve Rosa, planned the whole event.
I try to coordinate all of this stuff. I basically make sure things are where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there. Coordinate getting the building contract signed, getting the event authorization done and signed, making sure that all of the ducks are in a row for event authorization, risk management, all of the red tape, as well as doing my best to get people here to help once the event begins.
For those who don't know, the events in college rodeo are saddle bronc riding, bareback riding, bull riding, tie-down roping, steer wrestling, team roping, barrel racing, breakaway roping, and goat tying.
This year we lined up Jason Dent for the rodeo clown. He also goes by Wilson Nut Noli. For specialty acts, other than that, we have the Red Rock Riders drill team out of Knoxville, Iowa. And we also had the Raccoon River Riders out of Adel.
Results of the Cyclone Stampede can be found at collegerodeo.com. The next Great Plains Rodeo will be at North Dakota State University on October 21st.
For the most part, it's the students that make this happen. All of the workers here are Rodeo Club and Cyclone Stampede members, and they put in a lot of hard work to make this happen.
For ISUtv with Kevin Horner, I'm Alex Foltz.
Kim Kardashian West was robbed over the weekend while she was away in Paris, France for her husband's performance. The reality star was held at gunpoint after a group of men posed as police and robbed her early Monday at a private apartment in the city. West was robbed of a phone and $10 million worth of jewelry. A total of 5 suspects are wanted for the crime. The French Interior Ministry confirmed this morning that the group is armed and still on the run. Kardashian's popularity, especially on social media, was said to be a major part of why she was targeted in the burglary, making her whereabouts and activities easily seen by the whole world. The former model has 84 million followers on Instagram and another 50 million on Twitter.
That's all we have time for here on Newswatch on ISUtv. For our fantastic crew, I'm Taylor Mankle.
And I'm Lisa Greenwood.
And I'm Zach Williamson.
And we wish you a peaceful good night.